Hi, this is Marc from the ATV Guys, and today I'd like to present you with the Honda Rubicon 520 Deluxe. Why am I showing you this? Well, it's not everybody that wants or needs the Outlander 1000 XTP ZYZ and the Super Polaris Sportsman S1000. Some people actually just need an ATV to do stuff with and on a daily basis. Fishermen, hunters, ranchers, all of these guys, they don't need... What they need is, they don't need the super sport machine and all this stuff. And I think this machine is underrepresented inside of the media or the YouTube community. So I decided to borrow this one from Honda Canada. And I've been, honestly, I've been beating a living daylights out of it for what, a couple of weeks now. You see my ride review. You'll see, we buried it in mud. And I just felt like giving it the beans and find out what's the hype about it, because people who buy these, they are rabid fans. You can't go on the internet and talk about this thing without having people defending this with passion. I kind of find out why just by bombing around with it. And I haven't reviewed one since the first generation that came out back in 2015. We reviewed it on my French channel. Back then I didn't do English content. And there was quite a few bugs I didn't like. First of all, this one is equipped with a DCT transmission. So there's no belts, there's nothing. It's a transmission like in a car, those high-end cars, Volkswagen, some VWs. They have the PDK and all this stuff. Well, this is the same type of transmission. So it's a dual clutch transmission. This one comes from the likes of the Honda Goldwing motorcycle or the Africa Twin that have all DCT. DCT is dual clutch transmission. There's two clutch packs that are sequencing one each, one for the next gear and the next gear. So passing gears is extremely fast, and we can say this is an automatic because it has an automatic setting, and this is where I prefer it. They've been modifying them over the years, because back then shifting was like, even at slow speed, was like first, second, third, and you're just giving a little bit of gas. So the evolution of this, they've modified programming and all this stuff, and now it's not smooth as silk, but it actually learns, and if you are smooth with the machine, it will learn and give you smooth shifting. But if you're bombing around with it all the time, it's going to give you nice, fast, crisp shifting that's going to propel you forwards. That's something that I really liked. Another complaint I had back then was the 500cc engine just lacked, it lacked low-end torque, like a lot. So they upped the cc on this engine. It's very simple. They just made the piston bigger. So now we're 518 cc actually. And even though I couldn't find the power figures and I wasn't sure, so when I'm not sure, I'm not going to say it. But what I've noticed is there's a whole lot of bottom end grunt. Like there's no replacements for displacement. If you want bottom end grunt, you need displacement. So they went up to 518. Much improved in the lower range of the RPMs, right to the mid range. It's very well married to the transmission, and that I find that they did good on this thing. Another thing they've modified. I remember back in 2015 when they said, "We're coming with independent rear suspension." IRS actually wrote it here somewhere. Yeah, you check this out. They still write it. Independent rear suspension. Yes. Well, it wasn't really an innovation when 95% of ATVs today have independent rear suspension. Back then, it was a big deal for Honda to come out with this. And I understand why they did it, because they still need to innovate a little bit. But the suspension was really stiff in the back and it had the tendency to jump and chatter all the time. This is something that they have improved upon a lot. Handling on this thing is now nice and sharp, and it's planted. I really like the handling on it. Even though if it's just a little 520, this thing can scoot because of the transmission and gear shifting. So you're always in the power band. Another thing I didn't like was the power steering. At very low speed, I think under 20 kilometers an hour, there was no power steering. And this is where you need power steering. If you're maneuvering forwards and back, or pulling and back up and back upping with a trailer, you need. So now there's a little bit of assistance. I would love to have more, but now at least it does it. And in trails at low speed, especially when you're in mud, because we actually buried this thing in mud a couple of times today, there is assistance, and you can feel it. So all in all, it's a series of small improvements that are making this machine better and better. The only negative, and this is a negative for me, might not be for your rabid Honda fans out there, but it's expensive. In this trim, in the Deluxe trim, this thing in 2024 is like $13,800. You heard me right. I'll put it on the screen. It includes freight and PDI, so yeah, so that's $1,000 right there. But still, it's a heavy chunk of change when Yamaha and let's say Suzuki, if we go in Japanese manufacturers, offer in the same price range machines that have a much larger engine, much faster, better handling, and all this stuff. But if you go into 500 cc's in Yamaha and 415 Yamaha and 500 in the Suzuki, this thing is quite a bit more expensive. Why? I'll tell you. And the other two are very good, very, very good machines. But this one tops the cake in build quality, paint quality, trim, assembly. This thing is very, very well put together. It's a solid unit. No weird noises, no brake making noises, nothing. And what's fun is when you're riding it at a sedate pace, it's very, very quiet. It's something, you know, it's kind of a different way of life for Honda, because Honda always been different with their ATVs. But now with this, I think it looks good. Somebody look at these graphics. That's the first thing that jumped at me, is the graphics. They're very nice, and just the quality of the sticker, you can see it, you can feel it when you touch it. It's not cheap. Everything is nice. This paint right here on the rack, it's very hard to scratch on the bumpers and all this stuff. But this is thick stuff, and actually, I think this is baked on. The way the finish is and how hard to scratch. No, it's all a question of how the thing is built. And if you're looking for something that you'll still be able to drive around in 10, 15, maybe 20 years if you take good care of it, this is what you want to buy if you're working, hunting, and all this stuff. If you're a trail rider and you love trails, this can handle it, but this might not be the machine I'd choose for trail riding. It can handle trail riding all day long, no problem. But there is better out there and cheaper. But for you Honda guys, I know a certain guy, Pierre, that always rubs us about, why don't you do Honda content? It's because it's the same machine for the last 10 years. So this one is new enough for us to do content on it, and you know, it can tow 600 kilograms. It can do everything well, smoothly. That's the Honda Rubicon 520 Deluxe. Yeah,